Hello everybody, welcome back to the World AI Only Deathmatch series. This is part 13. In the last episode, quite a bit happened. We have experienced the first instance of nuclear warfare, with the Soviet Union nuking Persia, and Persia nuking the Soviet Union. Of course, Persepolis, the capital of the vast and sprawling Persian Empire, has been nuked. Millions of people have been killed, as this used to be, I believe, a 38 or 39 pop capital, or maybe 29, I should say. So Persepolis has been nuked. I believe Yerevan has also, almost been nuked. There's some fallout on these mountains over here. And Leningrad and Kiev have also been nuked. We are seeing a Persian military offensive into the Soviet Union, but that is not all. In fact, Venezuela has a strike team ready to take French West Africa, and this might usher in a new era of Venezuelan expansionism into Africa. I mean, we might see an entirely new player emerge on the African continent. Of course, this might actually be the first instance of cross-continental warfare. We've got a South American civilization that has hegemony over most of South America, with the exception of Soviet, like Ecuador over here in the west. But, if Venezuela is able to capture Iran, this is going to open an entirely new theater. We might see the rise of Venezuela if they decide to attack perhaps the Kilwa Sultanate. Maybe the Kilwa Sultanate will take back the territory. We'll see. And also, everybody is at war with England now. I believe Persia, France, maybe even Venezuela have all attacked England. I'm going to go ahead and fly over the rest of these maps. Of course, Germany is also still at war with Persia. Persia is still expanding into central and eastern Siberia. And Korea is now at war with, I believe, England. We're going to check the global diplomacy, so you guys don't have to just take my word, of course. America is still holding strong in North America, in Alaska, where the Shoshone have pretty much control over all of the continent outside of Alaska. And the Shoshone are a little bit behind in technology. It's 2028. We shouldn't be seeing Great War infantry here, but they're, of course, held back with the vast amount of cities they currently hold. Going into Korea, we see very advanced units, very modern units, including modern infantry and helicopter gunships. Of course, Korea has the potential to make nuclear weapons, but they might lack access to uranium, and I spoke too soon. They have 2 atomic bombs outside of Nagoya and more uranium just outside that city. Going down to Oceania, Persia is still in firm control of Australia, almost has control over everything located on this mini continent, and they've also expanded into the land of cattle over here in New Zealand. That's the first I've ever noticed it. So enough of the warm-up. Let's go ahead and go into global politics, where we can see where people are at war. Thank you guys for letting me know about this, by the way. In the last episode, you guys had mentioned that this was a thing that I could do. So without further ado, Kilwa, Atomic Era, at war with Germany and at war with Japan. Basically just attacking the bottom-feeding civilizations, attacking them when they're down. That is the name of the game for Kilwa. Germany is at war with France, Persia, America, and Kilwa. So basically everybody is at war with Germany. France over here has basically made enemies with the Soviet Union. They've denounced them, but they're not at war. Instead, they're at war with Germany, England, and Venezuela, which is not too surprising considering we saw some Venezuelan troops off the coast of West Africa. Persia, probably the most important player outside the Soviet Union, is at war with Germany, England, Japan, and the Soviet Union. Elizabeth is with France, Persia, and the Shoshone, Korea. So Korea will probably end up attacking England. Denmark's at peace. Japan is at war with 4 different people, but of course Japan doesn't have a city anymore, so we don't really care. Shoshone are at war with England. Korea, again, is at war with England. So besides that, nothing really special to report. So let's go ahead and begin where we left off. You know what we're going to do? When we end the turn, we're going to end it over here in West Africa to see if France is going to lose its colony to Venezuela. And I do understand that a lot of you want me to end more turns while I'm in a specific episode, and that's fine. I can get around to doing that. I know that sometimes I just end like 6 or 7 turns in like a 20-minute episode, 25, 30-minute episode. So, I'm going to end more turns so you guys get a little bit more content and this specific installation of the World AI Deathmatch. And I guess a lot of you are a little bit upset or curious as to why I say episode and not episode or repisode, whatever you guys say. I don't know. Maybe it's my accent. I've never ever even said an episode or however you refer to it as. It's really not important. If it really bothers you that much, just tune me out when I say it. So that will be the last time I say episode. This episode. I just said it again. So Venezuela was able to take over Iran and Western Africa, once belonged to France. So we'll keep an eye on this specific theater soon. I believe they're probably going to be shipping more troops and naval units over here to take Toulouse. Going to the north, England is under siege, but surprisingly enough, they have their melee units embarked onto the water, which is a bit stupid, but that is what they are doing. Soviet Union, still very much at war with Persia. Looks like there might even be more nukes going off here now. I'm keeping an eye on Persepolis, of course, as well. Going to the east, we have a brand new Persian city of Gabay, which is, in Siberia. It's really going to cut off Soviet expansion over here if they're able to continuously colonize this region. So let's go back to Europe, where we're going to keep kind of our vision of what's going on here for the next few turns and see if the Soviet Union will be able to defend its territory. It is my opinion that Team Russia is probably going to lose a few cities this episode. I mean, and there we go. I'm saying the word again. I only say this just because there is a massive contingent going north of the Caucasus. Of course, Persia is not afraid to bomb the Soviet Union, specifically Leningrad and Kiev, into the ground. They have proven they've got plenty of air units, like air superiority over the Soviet Union. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, I know everybody who's on Team Persia is probably ready for the Soviet Union to roll over and just accept the Persian overlords. But I know, for me, I'm kind of rooting for the Soviet Union just because I'm rooting for the underdog. And I mean, I know the Soviet Union's not really the underdog necessarily. It's just that, Persia, I mean, they're huge. Look at the demographics. They're massive. They win in everything. It would be nice if the world could wise up and decide to rise up against the global hegemon. So, that being said, Copenhagen is getting shelled outside of Eastern Germany over here that the Soviet Union controls. The GDR is indeed pretty powerful at this point. Well, they lack pretty much any sort of military over here on the border. But if the Soviet Union places another great general on the border, it'll be the most militarized border, perhaps, our most defendable border, I should say, anywhere in the world at this moment. Probably akin to, the Siegfried Line or the Maginot Line in World War I and World War II, respectively. So, or the Maginot Line would be World War I. Siegfried Line's World War II. Yeah, that's just semantics. We don't really care. Let's go back over here to Russia, where we've got a few mechanized infantry, some SAMs, and 2 Marines that are heading into the territory. We will see if Stalin is able to push back the invaders, just like they did in the Great Patriotic War. Going over here, we do have a little bit of a battle going outside of Krasnodar and Guliman, but nothing really too interesting to report. Kind of just spending more time now walking across the map, seeing what's going on. Of course, England is at war with Korea as well. We are going to keep our eye, and of course the Shoshone too. So we're going to be keeping an eye on England. It seems like everybody hates England at this moment. Although I guess Venezuela can't be trading with England if they have a trade ship. Let's just go ahead and double check real quick, just to ensure that that's. Oh, they're at war with France. Okay, that's right. I had a feeling it was somebody. I wasn't sure who. So Oran is definitely in Venezuelan hands. We will see if they can use this as a springboard to attack the undefended Toulouse. Toulouse, of course, only having one great general to defend. So, also, let's double check once again. Sorry, I know I've been doing this quite a bit. I want to see if France is at war with the Kilwa Sultanate. They are not, so that's a good thing, right? Because I also kind of want France to win too, but that's not going to happen. But if you've been following my series for this long, I'm a Francophile. I love France. I speak French, and I love French food, French women. Everything about France is great. So that might get me flack from some of you guys. I don't know. So Kopang, very bad situation to be in. We've got some Persian XCOM squads outside of the, I guess, capital of the Soviet Black Fleet Navy. Of course, if this city falls, the Soviet Black Fleet will fall as well, as they don't have any other access to the Black Sea. And look at this. The Persians are just trigger happy with the nukes. They've dropped yet another one, this time on Kopang, and moved in their XCOM squads through Anatolia and Ragusa. Very, very bad news for the Soviet Union. Team Russia, I'm feeling for you guys. I don't know what's going to happen here. It's not looking very good at this moment. Russia is, probably in for a world of hurt when it comes to the Persians, who just have a much larger military-industrial complex. Let's take a look at Africa once again. Nothing too special to report. We're not seeing a lot of colonization on the part of the Kilwanese. They mainly just seem to be content on puppeting cities that they've taken from other civilizations like Bordeaux, Utique, Cologne, these Russian cities, Gades, Sofala. It's just insane. So that seems to be what their modus operandi is. Nobody has settled Iceland, which is pretty impressive. They've got, of course, uranium up here and a volcano that I cannot pronounce. That was the volcano that grounded so many Europeans from flying back in, I think, 2010 or 2011. I went to Iceland the year after that, and I believe, if I have any Icelandic viewers, please correct me, but I believe you pronounce it Eyjafjallajökull. Eyjafjallajökull. It's spelled like Eyjafjallajökull or something like that, and perhaps any Scandinavian people in my channel, I know there's a few of you, any Swedish, if you guys want to tell me how to pronounce that, it's pretty difficult. But in big news, Team Persia has successfully taken the Black Sea port of Kopang. It remains to be seen whether or not the Soviet Union will be able to reclaim this territory. My guess is probably not. And the supply lines that are between Moscow and East Germany, the GDR, might be threatened if the Persian forces will be able to take Leningrad. If so, of course, all of this territory will be split off from mainland Russia, just like it is today with the Kaliningrad Oblast, which is, of course, an exclave of Russia. I've already mentioned this 1,000 times in my videos. So if you want to hear me blabbering about the Kaliningrad Oblast, make sure to check out like episode 7, episode 8, episode 9. You get the idea. So, with that being said, let's take a look at Persepolis. No more bombs are going off. What about Krasnodar? So far, there is a Persian XCOM squad outside of the city. We will see if the Stalinist infantry are able to hold off the invader. Japan and the Soviet Union have signed a friendship agreement. Of course, Japan no longer has any type of city or any territory whatsoever, so that's, probably not the best thing to do at this moment. We have some Persian XCOM squads heading into the Soviet hinterland here in modern-day Ukraine, it would seem, maybe on the border of modern-day Ukraine, Poland, and Belarus, which is over here, or Belarus, sorry, which is over here. And take a look at London. England is also under attack by Team Persia. Team Persia seems to want to control the world, and you know what? At this point, I'm not really sure if there will be anybody that is able to stop them. Going down over here, Venezuela still in firm control of the African port of Iran. Nothing really new to report with Venezuela. They seem to be modernizing pretty slowly, just like North America. North and South America, they're a little bit slower on the technology front, but that's just because they have a large empire with, I guess, less science, less population than Persia does, at least in theory. In Civilization 5, if you have a sprawling empire, you're supposed to get some type of technological malice, where like each technology that you research is like 5% more expensive for each city that you control. But that doesn't seem to be stopping Persia whatsoever. Let's take a look and see what the future of England looks like. The battle for Britain is in full swing, but it seems like Persian kebabs will make their way into Britain here in the next few decades. You know, I can already smell the hookah burning in Great Britain, and the hookah's already burning too in the former Soviet territory of Kopang. Of course, hookah smoking is not unique to Persia. It's just, you know, a Middle Eastern type of thing. I know it's big in Persia. It's big in Afghanistan. It's big in the Persian Gulf. Hookah's great. I love it. But, you know, you can't smoke too much of that stuff because it is carcinogenic. Well, anyways, let's not talk about tobacco smoking. Let's get back to the matter at hand here. We have a massive XCOM squad / Marine Persian rocket artillery and SAM brigade heading into Leningrad. England has lost its capital. London has been captured by Team Persia. The entire city is going up in flames, and Persian carpets are already on their way en route from Persepolis to London, because any newly acquired Persian city gets access to the best Persian rugs available in the empire. And we're seeing some conflict outside of East Germany. Perhaps Berlin will fall to Persia. That would be a pretty disastrous day for both France and the Soviet Union, as France would like to potentially reclaim that territory in the future. It's looking less and less likely with each passing year. We've got some barbarian mobile SAMs outside of Vladivostok, and that's a bad thing. I think if this any analog to real life, this would just be like maybe a coup attempt at taking control of it's like a revolution. And of course, the revolution that overthrew the Soviet Union, the August coup attempt, that really destabilized the Soviet Union. That of course happened in, I believe, 1990. I know you guys want me to mention some history. We've got some Persian paratroopers and attack helicopters outside of Krasnodar. Soviet Union is not looking like it's in a very good position right now. Let's take a look at their happiness to see if that is why they are struggling at the moment. I think you find this through, is it Victory Progress? It's your social policies, isn't it? No, it's not. Culture review? God, this is so stupid. Alright, overall happiness. Let's see. Soviet Union, where are you at? You are at negative 21 happiness because you have taken autocracy, just like England. Not very good for the Soviet Union. They are facing a, massive happiness deficit, if such a metric is even relevant at this point. So let's go ahead and continue. Toulouse, of course, is in a safe location, as Venezuela is mainly limited to its sea power, and because Toulouse is in the interior of Western Africa, I think this is like modern day, it's not Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire is over here. The Ivory Coast is down here, as is that American colony, Liberia, the American colony. And, anyways, getting back to the European theater, we will see if London will be held in Persian hands, and the battle for Eastern Germany, and indeed the future of the Soviet Union is in full effect. Poor Stalin lost not only Armenia, he's lost the Black Sea. We're getting a lot more violence outside of Kiev. Kiev might fall next turn, in fact, as Berlin might as well. The XCOM squads are incredibly powerful. What is that sound we are hearing right now? I think that sound was a nuke, which is pretty cool. If I had a lot of time to edit these videos, I'd probably make like a really cool nuclear siren sound effect every time a bomb was dropped. That would be really cool. Or maybe you get like a mod, with that sound effect. So the barbarian SAMs have decided to move into greener pastures, and by that I mean they are now pillaging and burning down English countryside outside of Ribe, which is in modern day St. Petersburg, or at least close enough. This is part of Finland as well. Right, so let's go ahead in the next turn where a lot is going to happen. It is my guess that Kiev and Berlin are going to fall to the Persian kebab. We will see, of course, what will happen. Darius has completed the Sydney Opera House. He has Wonderhoard practically everything in the game. Berlin has been captured by Persia, and Krasnodar has been captured by Persia. The Soviet Union is not in a good position. Persia even has giant death robot mechs. So the technology gap, that is the major point in which we are seeing an absolute destruction of the Soviet motherland. I guess, the Soviet Union, fell historically. If it didn't fall naturally, of course, Persia will push its way in and take it over by force. We're seeing a massive army south of Leningrad for next turn. And we're also seeing Persia attack York. In this episode, Persia might take close to 6 or 7 cities, which is just scary. I mean, it's very dystopian if you think about it. Any of you have read 1984? It's like the massive sprawling empire on the European continent that spread into Asia. It's like Eurasia or whatever it was called. But look at this. I mean, fallout is everywhere. These poor workers are just trying to scrub the fallout from the fields, and they can't catch a break. What could a nuclear worker do to catch a break here? Well, pretty much nothing. So we're going to see a Persian advance on Hamburg, and more than likely a Persian capture of Kiev, where they will continue to work on Leningrad here. The XCOM squads and the giant death robots are they're really just going to push to the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union has no chance here to stand up against this massive assault. And for the time being, actually, Berlin and Kopang are split off from the rest of the Persian Empire by the mountain range, this Tyrol mountain range. I guess the Tyrol Mountains would be over here in Austria, but this is like those mountains in Hungary. If you guys are Hungarian or Polish or Czech, if you live on the border of this massive mountain range, feel free to comment what that is, or if you just happen to know, even better. Going down here south into Western Africa, we've got some settlers, some Venezuelan settlers that have the audacity to settle right outside of French Africa. Of course, the French great general that has no name is making his way north. I thought, generals were automatically assigned names, but I guess, sometimes not so much. We have a brand new Venezuelan city in modern-day Dominican Republic, not Democratic Republic. Well, in fact, I think the Dominican Republic, there it is, in Haiti, will be on this little island. So that means this island over here is part of the Leeward, Windward Islands in English, and French, Les Antilles. Or is that how I say it in English too? Is it the Antilles? Is that how I say it? Well, whatever, it doesn't really matter. We're seeing a massive strike force from the Shoshone, who are heading east, probably in a gambit to take York for themselves. We'll see if they are successful in this. But it's nice to see that Venezuela is expanding, as they were not expanding as fast as the Shoshone, for example. And still, we are seeing some status quo here. It's very interesting to see Kilwa own a city over here in Alaska, as I've mentioned in prior episodes. And, oops, I said the word again, didn't I? Well, a lot of you guys are going to blow up my comments about how I pronounce that word. Look at this. This is why I'm flying around the map. We have a massive Korean strike force heading west. Where they're heading to, we don't know, but they've got a... wait, what the fuck? We've got a nuclear missile. Okay, I was like, is there a nuclear submarine held within this nuclear submarine? Are we just going full on meta here? It's just like submarineception. Like, I was really thrown off there. Anyways, enough blabbering. I know you guys in my turn. See how far Persia can pull and push into the Soviet Union. Of course, my bet is that they will push pretty far. They might not be able to take Leningrad this turn, however. We will see if they are successful. They've been able to hold on to Berlin, Kopang, and Kiev. Of course, Krasnodar as well. Soviet Union is looking like it's in for a world of trouble. In fact, Persia might not ever make peace with the Soviet Union until they're reduced to Denmark status over here. Poor Denmark. Every time I see the city, you know, I shed a little Scandinavian tear for our brethren who have fallen. The Vikings were not able to really compete in this world and in this job economy. Yeah. And France is just throwing great engineers and generals at the Great War Infantry. I wish you could capture them without killing them, but I don't think you can. Of course, Venezuela is interested in more than just Toulouse, as they have another settler off the coast of Africa. France, of course, has been reduced to kind of like a little rump state. We will see if they are able to stave off outside aggression. We've got a lot of troops heading west. Let's go ahead and double check the diplomacy to see who exactly the Koreans are at war with. They're at war with England and Vietnam. I was just checking to see if they're at war with Kilwa, because they could totally push into Kilwa over here in the south of Africa. Let's go now to London, which is fully in the hands of the Persians. The Shoshone. We've got even another Venezuelan settler going somewhere. Venezuela is in a period of expansion, it would seem. And yet another one down here in modern-day Santiago, Chile. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Let's go and end our turn and see more nuclear attacks and, you know, just the apocalypse that's unfolding here in Eurasia. Soviet Union is sending out all of its troops to defend Leningrad. They will throw in every single manpower and material they have into defending the hero city of Leningrad. Of course, Leningrad named after the architect of the Soviet state, Vladimir Lenin. If you don't know who that is, well, you might want to look at Wikipedia or take a look at all the pictures of ubiquitous Lenin statues that dot the country and cityscapes of Russian Federation, Ukraine, maybe even in Poland, probably not so much. Belarus, I think, has got that Soviet vibe still going on today. And there's even this little microstate actually on the border between Moldova and Ukraine. It's called Transnistria. And they've got a lot of really cool examples of intact Soviet propaganda. It's still there. It's never taken down. They still have kind of like this one-party state type of vibe going on over there. Right. So the Shoshone are doing something. Let's go ahead and double check to see who they are at war with. I promise I won't do this all the time. They're at war with just England at the moment. Just to make sure that they're not trying to attack France, for example. Toulouse is still under attack by Venezuela, and we've got a brand new city on the coast of Africa over here, Ciudad Bolivar. Very interesting, and probably we've got another one down here as well. No, it's not been created yet. So that is all fine and dandy. Let's see if Leningrad can hold out for another turn or so, keeping our eyes, of course, on eastern Eurasia past the Ural Mountains to see if Sverdlovsk and Munich will fall to the Persian advance. So the one thing that Stalin's got is General Winter, which is keeping the Persian troops at lower healths than they normally would be. Of course, they're suffering attrition, and Leningrad has been reduced to 1 HP. The hero city is in for a world of pain. York has been captured by the Shoshone. Look at this. The Shoshone have swooped in and captured the city with a caravel after the Persians have weakened it. Very interesting development. We've got another large barbarian uprising, this time outside of Moscow itself. The August coup d'etat is in full swing. Of course, historically, the August coup in the Soviet Union was an attempt to bring back the Soviet Union underneath a centralized model of government, of course, controlled top down by the Communist Party with a strong leader. It was in opposition to Gorbachev's liberal decentralization administration of the Soviet Union in the late 80s and 90s, his period of glasnost and perestroika. I'm not Russian, please correct me here. His policy of openness and decentralization basically brought the Soviet Union to collapse. You know, he started to reduce the amount of troops in the Eastern Bloc territories in the Warsaw Pact countries like Poland and the Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. They all decided to declare independence from the Soviet Union because they viewed Gorbachev's administration as unwilling to militaristically solve, that particular problem. So, Gorbachev has been widely credited with bringing about the end of the Soviet Union due to his policies, and a large, I guess, consequence of his policies was the August coup. So, I guess in this timeline, we're getting some resistance to Stalin, who has somehow lived into 2035 AD. He is an old motherfucker. He's probably close to, he was around in 35, so he's older than 100, probably close to 140. Who knows how he's still alive. He's still eating pierogi and drinking vodka after all these years. Let's go and end one more turn, to see what happens to Leningrad. We'll see, of course, if Leningrad falls this turn. If it does, that is just, a nail in the coffin into Team Soviet Union. Of course, the Soviet Union was able to withstand pushing back a bit of these troops, but the big problem is these barbarian anti-tank guns outside of Moscow. It remains to be seen what happens in the future with these anti-tank guns. We will see in the next episode, or instead we can see once the turn expires and the Soviet Union is right. So the Soviet Union has decided to attack them, leaving Leningrad open towards mechanized infantry, XCOM squads. And in good news, the Soviet Union was able to take down a giant death mech that was outside of Kiev, of course, which is now in Persian hands. And look at this, Shoshone control York. It's just crazy. This is just so incredibly historical at this moment, It's not just that we've got Venezuela and Africa. It's just that, we've got Persia in London. We've got Shoshone in York. We've got kebabs and hookah down here in England. And in Scotland, we've got wigwams, teepees, and lots of peyote and mescaline. So that's that's nice. Going down here, Toulouse is taking a lot of heat. We will probably see that changing hands in the next episode. Going over to the west into South America, we've got a brand new city of Los Teques in Chile in the Atacama Desert. Besides that, not a lot has happened with the Shoshone. Of course, the Shoshone are pooping out lots and lots of archaeologists. Their tourism is going to be incredible. It's going to be very powerful. Not a lot has happened over here with Japan. We still have a massive Japanese fleet, however, that's heading southwest through Kilwanee's territory. And my guess is that the Shoshone are not going to stop with what they have. They are going to move in and take Copenhagen, maybe even Ribe. We might see wigwams in Scandinavia and St. Petersburg / Leningrad / God, what was that third? Petrograd, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure what century you viewers are watching this in. Let's take a quick look at the demographics before wrapping up, as we always do in every single World AI series. Leading in population is the Persian state that has hegemony over 101 million citizens, which is it's crazy. The average is 5 times less than that. Their crop yield is, again, 5 times greater than the 313 million bushels that is the world average. They've got a manufactured goods well in excess of 5 times that of the world average. In GNP, they're only 4 times ahead, which is a bit weird. You'd think that they would have a much higher GNP. In terms of land, they control approximately 5 or 4.5 times that of the world average. Soldiers, again, they control 2 to 3 times the world average. I'm winning an approval, and that's great. I guess I'll get like a sticker for something like that. Literacy somehow goes to Persia, despite their massive empire. They have a literacy of 99%, which is fantastic. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the episode. Of course, over here in Mount Olympus, everything is fine and dandy for our nuclear submarine who can no longer move, really. So we're just gonna kind of chill out over here in the Antarctic Roman mountain range. And I want to thank you guys very much for watching this episode. Stay tuned for the next one, and see ya on the next installation of the World's AI Deathmatch. Thank you guys. See you soon.